from the Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. While seeing these organizations, they have very strategically used these tactics to create a state of terror. With a multifaceted approach, we need to prevent this problem. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Sit down. The delegate of India, you are next.
The delegate of India would like to emphasize that terrorism not only fractures nation but also undermines the collective quest for peace and prosperity. The government of India has been at the forefront of the global fight against terrorism. India has allocated billions of dollars to strengthen its security apparatus and to support international efforts in combating terrorism. Further, India has taken significant steps to dismantle the financial network using advanced drones and other advanced tools to counter terrorism. We have established a comprehensive monitoring framework to scrutinize the financial transactions and to prevent the diversion of funds to terrorist groups. However, few nations support terrorism from back, providing shelters, training, and financial assistance to terrorist groups. Countries like China further exacerbate the threat by facilitating the illicit arms trade. India urges the global action to hold these nations accountable and emphasize the need for collective effort in defeating terrorism, ensuring global security. Thank you.
Thank you. Sit down. All right. The delegate of Canada. I said we have time for half an hour for replies. Okay. Also, when someone is speaking, you have to raise your placard first, then take permission to speak, and then speak. Okay? Yeah.
Canada employs various technology and strategic measures to examine the acquisition of funding and artillery supplies by terrorist organizations. Canada utilizes advanced financial intelligence and surveillance technologies to track and monitor financial transactions associated with terrorist financing. Through agencies like the Financial Transaction and Report Analysis Center of Canada, Canada collects and analyzes financial data to identify suspicious activities, detect funding sources, and disrupt the flow of funds to terrorist organizations. Canada employs risk assessment and screening tools to identify high-risk individuals, entities, and transactions linked to the terrorist financing. These tools, data analytics, AI, artificial intelligence, and machine learning algorithms to analyze large volumes of financial data to detect patterns and flag potential threats for the further investigation. Canada maintains regulatory frameworks and measures to prevent the abuse of financial system by terrorist organization. Canada collaborates with. Thank you.
Terrorist organizations operate in the shadows of global financial system, relying on a complex web of funding sources to fuel their operations. This can include everything from exploiting charitable donations through front organizations to criminal activities like kidnapping, extortion, and drug trafficking. Additionally, acquiring artillery presents a significant challenge for most terrorist groups. They often rely on black markets and stealing. Understanding these funding and acquisition methods is crucial for dismantling terrorist networks and disrupting their operation capabilities. Singapore is one of the many countries with zero terror rates, and its strict laws against terrorism are supported, whereas most countries, when meeting their obligations to counter terrorism by rushing through legislative and practical measures, have created negative consequences for civil liberties and fundamental human rights. Israel is at its apex with terror rates due to Israel-Hamas war. These countries like these need to implement better laws for safety of their citizens.
The delegate of Belgium.
country's greatest terrorism threat remain homegrown terrorism carried out by lone actors, whether inspired by Islamist tourists. Previous incidents include attacks against civilians and security forces. October 2023, two people were shot and killed, and another is injured in a terrorist incident in Brussels. The terrorist level in Belgium has remained at 3 since 16 October 2023, following attacks on Swedish football fans in which people were killed. The terror threat level has remained at 3 and didn't get least because of the tension in the Middle East and the rise in anti Semitism. Belgium increased the border controls on airports and the international train stations, the enhancement of the intelligence service information position abroad, they increased the security and identity card of citizens and travelers.
Thank you. Delegate of Brazil.
In recent years, Brazil has intensified its efforts to combat terrorism, recognizing the global threats of poses to national security. At the forefront of this endeavor is the establishment and the operation of the Terrorism Task Force, a specialized unit dedicated to preventing, dedicating, and responding to terrorist activities within the country's borders. This article delves into the structure, strategies, and significance of Brazil's counter-terrorism task force. In March, the Brazilian Minister of Justice and Public Security and the FBI completed an information sharing arrangement that creates a framework for Brazil to adopt a US standard biometrics collection system. Thank you.
The delegate of Sweden.
Sweden faces money laundering risks because of its role as a regional financial center, resulting in terrorist financing risks, in particular associated with ISIS and foreign terrorist fighters. Authorities combat against terrorist financing with the help of tech. Sweden was among the first in Nordic countries with launching a national AI strategy as early as 2018. The country ranks 6th according to Government AI Readiness Index by Oxford. Sweden's money laundering offense, amended in 2014, has greatly improved the potential for investigation and prosecution of money laundering activities. Financial intelligence is used systematically to provide us with data about the terrorist groups trying to acquire funds. Iran has been funding terrorist groups actively in the Middle East to project power. Sweden minimizes its trade with Iran and hopes to eventually stop it in future. The country follows many sanctions against Iran to restrict them from financing terrorist groups. Swedish authorities efficiently trace criminal assets and consider confiscation a highly dissuasive penalty. Thank you.
All right, the delegate of Egypt. Yes. Please give her the mic.
Hi, I'm a delegate of Egypt and will be giving a speech on examining the acquisition of funding to terrorists against for various operations. Today, we will talk about how terrorist groups get money, technology, and weapons for their actions. It's crucial to understand how they manage to fund themselves and get the tools they need for their harmful activities. We can learn how these groups find ways to support themselves, from secret fundraising to using new technology. They're pretty smart about getting what they need to do bad things. To tackle this problem, we need to work together globally. By sharing information and taking targeted actions, we can stop the flow of money and supplies to these groups. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. What happened? What is written on the top? Is it a reply or is it a POI? Is it signed by the EB?
No, it is not signed.
Then it is not recognized.
And
Also, when someone is speaking, you should wait, let her complete her speech, and then raise a doubt.
okay, sir.
Okay? Yeah.
I replied to one question. Sir, it was
Speak
not
on the mic.
Sir, it was not signed, and I got it back.
No worries, you can send it back. We'll see to it. Thank you, Delegate of Egypt. Israel? Yes, you can start. Mike. Mike, where's the mic? Yeah.
Stringent border security measures, including security barrier, deployment of military patrols, including infantry units, armed vehicles, and border police, including naval patrols, maritime surveillance, are implemented to prevent the smuggling of weapons into Israeli territory. In Israel, technologies like financial intelligence systems, cryptocurrency analysis tools, surveillance equipments, biometric identification systems, and data analytics platforms are employed to examine terrorist financing and procurement. This is unlike as in parts of countries like Syria, Yemen, and Afghanistan and Somalia often struggle to effectively monitor and control terrorist financing and arms acquisitions due to breaking down of state authority and infrastructure. The foreign policy includes international cooperation and diplomacy. Israel stricts domestic laws and regulations to prevent terrorist financing. This includes monitoring and regulating financial transactions that could potentially be linked to terrorist activities. Legal frameworks like Counterterrorism Law 2016, Prevention of Terrorism Ordinance 1948, Export and Import Control Act 1957,